Tonight's species is one of the most popular summertime fish. Their beautiful colors make them a fan favorite for pictures. It also is Brie's favorite fish because of how big they get and how good they taste. Tonight, it's all about the dolphin here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Well, it's your favorite part of the week and time to watch the Florida Insider Fishing Report. We're on full-time summer vibes over here, bringing everyone into the July 4th weekend and talking about, like you said, Rick, my offshore summer crush, dolphin.
Absolutely, and I know it is your favorite fish.
It really is.
But it's also the 4th of July is a favorite day of yours. There's not many of us that have fireworks going off on our birthday, but our dear Brie here was actually born on Independence Day.
I was. I'm an independent baby. Came out with a bang.
How old are you going to be there, baby?
31.
31 with a baby coming.
31 with a baby on the way. It'll be the best birthday ever.
Yes,
all right, well, we have a few special guests joining us today from FISHBITES, and I see a familiar face over at the CCA workbench with Dave from R&R Tackle, Mr. Mahi Magnet himself, Ray Rocher.
Yeah, Ray's here to make me look good today.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, come on, man.
You will, Ray.
You're going to try.
I'm going to sure try.
He's going to try. All right, well, let's start the holiday weekend celebration in the Alto Equipment Keys region with Captain Randy Tao, where it's Mahi's time to shine. Talk dolphin to us, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, here in the Alto Equipment region, we catch dolphin a little bit different than a lot of places. You know, most people will go offshore and they'll put some trolling rods out, they'll drive around and they'll hope for a hunting accident and catch a big dolphin or get into something. But down here, there's a few tricks you want to understand and learn that are really going to help you be successful dolphin fishing. And one of the key things down here are the birds. You know, you can leave the edge of the reef from Marathon, Key Largo, Islamorada, and you have the potential to see a bird or to see something floating and find a dolphin on it. So it's not uncommon to see them in as shallow as 150 feet. But normally, guys will run offshore a little bit further, try to get into that Gulf Stream water, and about 400 feet most likely is where a lot of things start to happen. Now, the Gulf Stream varies from day to day, how close it is, how far out it is, what the severity of the tide's running, and if you're looking for weeds with bait under it, if you're looking for active birds, and the birds are key. We talk about the birds all the time. If you watch what they're doing in their behavior, they're eating the flying fish that the dolphin are pushing to the surface. So that's why the birds are there, and you really want to pay attention to that because that's going to yield a nice fish, schoolies. You never know. It might be tunas if there's a lot of them. You know, a lot of birds means a lot of bait, means smaller fish. Fewer birds, fewer bait, bigger fish. Just some simple things to remember. And always look for something floating. A board, a piece of debris. If you're the first guy to it, chances are there'll be some nice dolphin around it and some triple tails and maybe a wahoo. So it really is finding a little piece of gold when you do find a piece of debris that's all yours, and you want to take advantage of that. Now, I was talking to Captain James Simsick with Florida Keys Charters at a Marathon, and he does most of his fishing around the Marathon humps. And the other day he was on his way to there, and about 600 feet saw a set of birds, and this is what happened. He caught a 30-pounder under them, and he said that was the first fish they hooked up, and they didn't even get a cow out of it. It's just one bull.
Wow. All right, what else you got for us offshore, bub?
The yellowtail bite is great on the edge of the reef, up and down the Keys. You know, it's the time of year where they spawn, so the yellowtails are on the bigger side. And, you know, a little bit of moving water is key. When you've got the conveyor belt moving to take your chum down the reef line, you're going to have more success. You're going to pull more fish to you. And the longer you chum, you're getting your bait behind the boat, which is going to make the fish come up near the surface. And that's really what you're waiting on. You want to be patient, and there's a reason to get those fish closer to you than further away because of the bull sharks. So if you hook a yellowtail 100 feet behind the boat, there's a good chance you'll never land them. So you want to get those fish closer to you to shorten that gap between you and the fish. and you're going to catch some nice yellowtails. Chumming is key. Patience is key. No more than 12-pound line. And I've got a photo of Lori Whited from Fort Myers fishing with her friends at a Little Torch over the weekend with a jumbo yellowtail.
Nice. All right, let's go inshore, bub.
You know, the permit fishing this time of year, guys are still finding them around town on the oceanside flats with the high water. You want to have good visibility so you can see these fish swimming. And on the nicer, calmer days, they get up on the surface and they school. They're great fun. One of my go-to fish this time of year. You can also catch them in the bay and around structure and things like that. Now, a live crab is the best bet to get a bite out of a permit when you see them. And a 12 to 15-pound spinning rod will get the job done, too. Now, remember, bull sharks are another problem with permit. And if you encounter that problem, take the pressure off your fish, let him free spool back into the school. As soon as you take that stress off of that fish, the shark will leave him alone. If you keep pulling on him, you keep the stress, the bull shark's going to eat him right away. I was talking to Capt in Pablo Rodriguez with Slam Time Charters at a marathon, and he was telling me that he has had some good permit fishing on the bay side down that way. And every time I see a picture from Pablo, and he's probably doing it on purpose, they're jumbo permit. I never catch them big like that, but Frankie Finn caught this big permit with Pablo.
Wow, that is a
Nice.
stud. Hey, I heard the slimy bonefish is in your report this week. Tell me about it.
Oh, boy, here we go with those things. The slimy bone, you know, it's just part of the arsenal of things you have to do. And conditions favor, especially on those overcast, windy days, tough conditions. You don't want to run 50 miles to, the West Coast. You stay around town, you soak some shrimp, and a lot of people really enjoy catching these little bonefish. Now, we are starting to get more bonefish. They're not on the bigger side right now, but they're certainly plentiful, and guys do a lot of it when the conditions prevail. Incoming tide, overcast days are ideal. When you have those conditions, lay out a couple of shrimp in an area that doesn't have a lot of grass. If you get around the grass, you're going to catch catfish. Get around some white sand, let it sit. It's just a matter of time before you're going to get a bite. Captain Donnie Bimbo with Skins and Tins Charters does a lot of it right around the Lorelei area, actually. And I've got a picture of him and his angler releasing a bonefish.
All right, bub, thank you so much for all the pictures. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Florida Keys region. He says, inshore bonefish, fish the incoming tide. The windier the day, the better. Look for clear bottom without lots of grass and power pole down and let your shrimp sit in the sand. And then offshore, dolphin, start looking at 400 feet on out. Run south to intercept the birds flying northeast and southwest. Look for the birds flying to the southwest against the current, and that's where you're going to find those big mahis, baby.
Sounds good to me. All right,
Okay.
Coinciding with the annual Hemingway Days celebration, it's time to sign up for the Key West Marlin Tournament, July 21st through the 24th in Key West. With $50,000 in guaranteed cash prizes, registration is limited to the first 75 boats, so head on over to keywestmarlin.com to secure your spot. All right, well, there's always ways to increase your hookup odds, and then again, sometimes luck is a real factor. So let's check in with the Real Legends Central East region and see what Captain Jim Ross has to say about our dolphin odds.
Luck has a lot to do with it here in the Real Legends region in the Central East side of the state, because anglers over the past 2 months have had really good days, and then we've had some really slow days. It's been a real hit or miss proposition. But the one thing that you can always look for is, like Randy was saying, look for birds. There's been decent amount of fish around birds, and if you find weeds, flotsam, anything like that, definitely check that out. Those things are always potential places where you're going to find dolphin. And one of the things that I recommend is always have an R&R tackle jig ready. I like the Upperman jig in like the 3/4 or 1 ounce. It doesn't put a little strip of bait on it. It doesn't sink too fast, but it casts really well, and you can get that out in front of one of those dolphin. And when you twitch it and jig it back to the boat, you can sometimes get 4 or 5 dolphin coming out from under that flotsam chasing it. So in some cases, it's good to have 2 or 3 rods rigged and ready with those R&R tackle jigs. Skirted ballyhoo obviously is your #1 way to cover large expanses of water, especially if you're working rips and temperature breaks and color changes. Dragging those is going to help you find productive water and eliminate unproductive water pretty quickly. Now, on the other side of the Gulf Stream, it's been a little better. When you find something floating on the east side of the Gulf Stream, it's pretty much been full of dolphin. So for the guys that are getting over there, they've had, they're going 60 to 100 miles, but they've had some pretty good days on especially a little earlier this month when the guys were getting over there. Most of our dolphin are going to be right around that 5 to 9 pound range. A lot of our fish are going up into the 20-pound class, though, when you do find some of those bigger packs of fish. And then my other species is mangrove snapper. Mangroves have been really grouped up on the reefs and wrecks anywhere from about 90 feet out to about 130. And it seems like the bigger fish are spawning still on this past full moon, and they're still aggressive. You can still get them fired up when you get them on your sounder. Do like Randy was talking about with the yellowtails. Chum them up and be patient. And the closer you can get them to the boat, the better, because there are a lot of sharks out there that are trying to take advantage of those fish being schooled up as well. Chum and chunk, that's the way that I like to do it. Put your chum bags out, put some chunks of water in the water, let it float back. Every so often, put one with a 2/0 or 3/0 circle hook in it on a light leader, 25-pound leader or so. Let it slide on back in that chum slick. And when you feel that line start to pick up speed, it's time to put the hammer to it and get that fish to the boat. Most of our fish are running right around 3 to 5 pounds on average right now, but we have fish up into the 10 and even 11 and 12 pound range. And I've got a picture here of Roddy Core outside of Canaveral here this past week with a pretty chunky mangrove, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man, that's a stud, dude.
Chunker.
All right,
Here's the other thing. Cobia are starting to show up the last 2 weeks. Guys are getting cobia as they're doing that kind of fishing. So be ready once again with that R&R jig with a little bait on it, little strip on it, or a fish bite on it or something, because these guys are no joke when they swim up to the boat. There's some pretty good ones. My son, Captain Justin, put this one in the boat the other day while he was messing around with the snappers.
All right, let's go inshore, bub.
Tarpon, Rick, it's the tarpon are still here. Now, they aren't they're scattered though in the middle part of the region. They're not grouped up. But from Melbourne Beach down through Vero, much better numbers of fish down there, better bait pods down there, and then also up around the Ponce Inlet, New Smyrna area, much better action up there. Once again, the bait's better up in that area. Most of our fish are running right around 60 to 75 pounds on average, and some of those fish are running over 100. Right now, a 5/0 to 7/0 size circle hook on a live pilchard, a live greenie, a live croaker, or even a pinfish on 60 to 80 pound fluorocarbon leader is the way to get those fish. And Captain Glenn Austin at goingcoastalcharters.com sent me this picture, one in a series of a jumping fish that they got out of Sebastian the other day. That's a pretty nice photo there.
Yeah, it is.
My last species is flounder. Now, the flounder bite up out of the Ponce Inlet area has been best, but any of the nearshore reefs and inlets are holding fish right now. Port Canaveral, Sebastian's even got a few, but up around Ponce, much better action. So a 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce jig, and once again, I use that R&R jig when I'm bottom bouncing. That Upperman jig it's a very versatile jig. It's really worked well for me. Or you can use a sliding sinker rig. Just make sure, like if you're using a sliding sinker, a knocker rig where the weight goes down to the hook versus a sliding sinker which is above the swivel seems to work better because the bait stays closer to the bottom and closer to the weight. Most of our fish are running anywhere from about 2 to 3 pounds. There's some 4 and 5 pounders showing up, and they're also moving inside of the inlet at Smyrna, and you can find them in some of those back creeks back there. So there's some good flounder action this week, and it's a little early, but midsummer flounder, hey, we'll take it,
All right, we certainly will. Thank you so much. Good report this week, Jim. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and take a look
Anytime,
at the
guys.
road
Anytime.
and marine system hotspots. Jim says, inshore flounders on the nearshore reefs and wrecks outside of Ponce Inlet use live mud minnows or shrimp on a knocker rig or a 1/2 ounce saltwater assassin jig head, and then offshore mangrove snappers on the reefs and wrecks in 90 to 130 feet of water. Chum and chunk with sardines to fish up to 10 pounds. Whoa.
Chunk for a chunker.
That's
that
it.
was a big one. All right. Mahi Mania continues in the Fish Bites East region, but first we're seeing what Academy Sports and Outdoors rigs and techniques we'll be talking about at the CCA workbench with Dave and Ray. And I have a feeling, Ray, you've got some stories for us.
Ray's got a lot of stories, and some of them are even true.
If they were, he wouldn't be a fisherman.
Except the ones with Rick Murphy.
Not true.
Not true.
We'll be back. They probably are.
Yeah.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats, always in the game. Fenwick, Sirius XM Marine, weather, fishing mapping, entertainment. Penn, let the battle begin. Stiffy, innovators in shallow water performance. And Daiquiri Deck, Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories, fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
What started in the flats and bays has migrated offshore. GPS-guided trolling motor technology has moved to boats in the 35-plus foot class and allowed anchoring capabilities on most center consoles in any depth of water, from snook and redfish inshore to grouper and swordfish way out deep. Rodan Marine Systems has a GPS anchor to hold your vessel on location. Set it, forget it, catch more fish.
Every year, Noble Air Charter flies over 20,000 outdoorsmen and families just like you, economically, to over 300 Bahamian and Florida destinations. Noble Air Charter makes a substantial investment improving booking and aircraft route planning to create the most affordable and economical flight possible. And tomorrow, Noble Air's team will rise to the challenge to raise the bar yet again.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench for the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigs and Techniques. We got Captain Ray Rocher here from Miss Brit Charters in Miami, and he's going to tell us everything he knows about Dolphin in 3.5 seconds.
Yes, that's about it. Wind. Anyways.
You love to catch a dolphin. We all do. They're a great game fish. They jump. They're beautiful. You know, every time one comes in the boat, everybody's happy because we get to eat now. And, you know, they're pretty easy to catch. They get great big, up to 100 pounds, you know. They're a perfect game fish, and they're called that quite a bit. How do you like to go about catching them?
Well, when we fish in South Florida and in the Keys, we're trying to target all sizes. You know, they might be 2 pounds or 40 pounds. So you want to mix up the size of your lures. We fish tuna magnets, mahi magnets, ballyhoo in the riggers. So the bottom line is we're trying to have a bait for everything. And you might get the odd billfish. So, you know, it's a cool time of the year to fish. You never know what's next.
I gotcha. You like to troll a lot as well?
Yeah, we troll at a moderate speed, 6-7 knots. The bottom line is you don't want to go too fast because remember, smaller dolphin have a hard time catching up, and we invite all.
You like them all?
4-pounders, 20-pounders, whatever.
Where do you like to start when you're getting off there? You know, I mean, that's what I get from most people when you're heading offshore. Well, if I'm going dolphin fishing, where do I start fishing?
Well, Randy touched on it. In the Keys, it might be 400 or 500 feet as an average. But what you're looking for is a change. Two things really key you into where to start. One is a change of water color, which kind of signifies that edge of the Gulf Stream.
And a temperature break.
Right. Or birds, because the birds, which you probably will find on that break, but sometimes I've seen it where those birds are a couple miles further off. One interesting thing is you can see birds better from a lower vantage point. When I'm in the tower, I have to have the mates help me a lot. You know, hold your arm out, how far, you know, because the birds.
It's a little counterintuitive. You think you're up high, you can see further.
Well, you're looking at dark birds, sooty terns, blackbacks, on a dark water that maybe has, you know, camouflage appearance with the texture. So I can't see the birds as well from up top. So it's really a benefit to be in a smaller boat looking at water level. Those birds are silhouetted against the sky, and they're truly the best ones out there. You know, they do it for a living.
They're always, and you know, dolphins stay up close to the surface, so the birds follow them back and forth. Is there any kind of directional cues that you take from the birds, or?
Well, the thing that we look at least from Miami South, is when I see a bird or a flock of birds, I steer right at them with the boat. Just maintain my speed unless it's a Saturday and you got to beat, you know, a whole bunch of boats there. But typically go straight at them. And if they start moving to the right, those are probably mahi. If they're 1 to 5 birds, 1 to 6 birds, smaller groups of birds swimming into the current are typically decent size.
Which would be pretty to the south.
South, yep. And then if it's a bigger flock of birds going to the north, skipjack tunas, small blackfins, or little baby dolphin. Those are the 3 things we see going north. But if it's, sometimes you'll go at that, pick a cloud behind the bird, and I kind of focus on that cloud. And the birds never vary left or right. They're probably on a debris, like a piece of a pallet or a piece of wood. So those are kind of the things you can learn.
Another place where we always find dolphin.
Yeah.
I've caught several on old Cuban rafts that
right.
And I actually won a truck doing that one time. It was very, very lucky. So do you, are you looking for schools of dolphin or individual fish?
They're a schooling species, right? You get one on, you know the whole story, leave one in the water, kind of hold them, especially if they're swimming south into the current. They're not attached to a piece of debris. But a lot of times you'll see 1 or 2 birds, and it might be 1 big fish or 2 or 3, you know, bigger fish. And of course, we try to keep those on until we can hook the other fish.
Yeah, the reason those fish hang around is once you hook one, he starts puking. He starts regurgitating, and that's what all those other ones come around. And once he stops puking, you pull him out and get another puker on. Now, dolphin, when we get him to the boat, you know, some of them we got to let go. I see you got your D-hooker up there.
Yeah.
I know that the ones that we put the gaff in, they're one of the most dangerous fish there is.
Right.
You know, because they get to the boat and they're still really hot. You should always have a place for him to go once you put the gaff in. But I see you got the D-hooker out there as well.
The best thing to remember on fish that are undersized or close to legal size, we typically take 2 or 3 wraps on the leader, grab the D-hooker onto the line, slide it down to the hook, and then reverse the leader and the hook so that now the hook's upside down. Shake them off. You don't disturb the slime versus a glove, a rag under your arm on the deck. All those things are really detrimental to the survival of that fish. So, you know, if you can do the fish a favor, use a D-hooker, shake them off.
And they grow so fast, all those little dolphins get big really quick. So, you know, don't fill your boat up with a bunch of little tiny ones when you can let those go, and in 6 months, those things would be gaffers. So, thanks a lot, man. You always come through for me.
All right. Well, thank you.
Let them go, let them grow.
That's right. Good job over there, guys.
Learn something new again.
That's right.
Wow, every time. All right, when we're on the hunt for Dorado, there's always a few things you always want to look for. Ray touched on them. And in the Fish Bites East region, Captain Mike Holliday says we've got to find the diving birds. Give us more, Mike.
You know, it's been a consistent summer for dolphin, but it's been more of like a pick away at fish kind of year with a lot of small fish in the mix. There's been no lack of weeds, but just because you find a nice weed line doesn't mean you're going to find fish. A lot of the weed lines are picked over by mid-morning, so you might want to skip the time it takes to catch live bait in the morning and instead grab some ballyhoo or skirt and strip and just head out offshore. Be putting your lines out right at dawn, be the first ones on those weed lines. Most of the dolphin being caught are small, I would say under 12 pounds, but there are some larger fish being caught out deep, 400 feet of water or more, and most of those fish are coming under diving birds, either frigate birds or those ha-ha terns, or off of a large floating object like a tree or a pallet or a mattress or something big that's out there floating. It also seems like the better dolphin fishing is on the days that are windy, particularly in north wind, and the average dolphin in our region is under 12 pounds, but you know, the fish to 20 pounds being caught pretty much on a daily basis. I have a photo of a nice dolphin. That was taken by Nick Cameron of Stewart on the Floridian charter boat with his dad, Captain Glenn Cameron, and that fish ate a trolled ballyhoo. Now, the other bite, unlike the winter sailfish bite, which is best when it's been rough, the summer sailfish action is just as good on the calm days. There's been a strong concentration of sailfish from Hope Sound to the Black Condo off of Jensen Beach. The fish are spread out in anywhere from 60 to 200 feet of water. I was talking to Captain Quentin Hall. He had a sailfish release in 30 feet of water this week. And the fish are kind of locked in on the bait around the reefs and wrecks. So when you find that bait, just keep working it, working and working it. You'll get the bite. They're not going to all come at once, but just stay on it. You'll pick up another fish, pick up a double, pick up another fish, and before you know it, you got 6 or 8 fish. And you can certainly catch sailfish on troll ballyhoo, but The boats that are catching the big numbers are all targeting the fish with live thread fins or pilchards or sardines or goggle eyes. And you can slow troll them or drift and put out a kite and power drift. And as always, if you see a free jumper or a floater, you want to run right to that fish, put out your baits, and you usually pick that fish up. The average sailfish in my region is right around 40 pounds. Pretty big right now.
Nice. All right, let's go inshore, bub.
Well, you know, rough seas in the last week or so have kind of shut down the beach tarpon bite. It should be nicer by the weekend, but the inshore action in the St. Lucie and in the Indian rivers have been pretty strong early and late in the day. The best bite has been in the North Fork of the St. Lucie River on artificials like a Houdini-colored 4-inch sea shad or a clear-colored shrimp cocktail or a live 6 to 8-inch mullet. And then at the same time, Big and Little Mud Creeks in the Indian River have fish chewing those exact same baits right at first light until about 8 a.m. And most of those fish are in that 30 to 40-pound class with fish up to about 80 pounds. If you're looking for a big tarpon, the inlets are the place to fish. Pick an inlet, drift a live mullet out it. Pilchard or threadfin will work in a pinch. Outgoing tide by far has been better. There's been a lot of weed on the incoming tide, so just the outgoing tide. Make sure you have plenty of baits because there's a lot of snook and jacks around the same area. They're going to eat up some of your baits, and the average tarpon right now is 50 to 100 pounds around the inlets. The other thing we got going, you know, that first wave of summertime spawning snook moved into the inlets and out onto the beaches with last week's full moon. So places like the Hope Sound Wildlife Refuge, South Beach and Fort Pierce, the Vero Cove, the Lake Worth and Juneau Piers, they're all seeing their first of their summertime snook populations. And there's already a lot of fish on the beach and you know, a lot of big fish in that mix. So this is a really good time to be walking the shorelines at dawn, throwing you know, like a FISHBITES new penny colored shrimp or a bait fish pattern fly. The artificial snook bite goes on to about 8:30, even 9. Longer on the days that are overcast. When the fish start getting a good look at your lure and they're following it, that's when you know they're starting to see it really well. Then it's time to switch over to a live bait like a pilchard, a croaker, a mullet, a whiting, or a threadfin, whatever you can catch in the area. Free line them on 30 to 50 pound fluorocarbon leader with a 2.0 to 5.0 trocar circle hook, depending on the size of your bait. And the average sniff is going to be like 5 to 15 pounds with fish to 25 pounds in the mix. I have a good snook photo there. That's 10-year-old Delaney Redling. She caught that snook on the Sailfish Point Flats on a live threadfin.
Nice. Cool. All right, bub, let's hear about the bass fishing. This rain's got to be doing something to it.
You know what? It's helped it a lot. The afternoon rains have raised the water levels about 7 inches and dropped the water temperature about 6 degrees on the Kissimmee Toho chain. And that's really helping keep the bass bite going throughout the entire day. I was talking to Captain Steve Nymiller at bassonline.com. He says the time of day right now really doesn't matter. That, you know, the key is really just to find the hydrilla mats, work the edges of the mats to kind of drop off 2 or 3 feet, working with live shiners. He says he's mostly fishing in the middle of those lakes, fishing in 5 or 6 feet of water, and he's averaging like 30 or 40 fish a morning, which is pretty good. If you're out on the lakes after a rainstorm, he suggests heading to the creeks and the canals on the shorelines, really anywhere you can find the water moving, and then throw a topwater plug, a blue-colored chatterbait or a white spinnerbait. In the middle of the day, you can just fish a Junebug-colored Bass Assassin 7-inch worm with a 2.0 hook on it and a 1/8 ounce weight, just not a lot of weight. Just crawl it through the puddles in the hydrilla, and you'll do really well. Average bass on Kissimmee Toho is 1 to 3 pounds, with a lot of 4 or 5 pounders in the mix. Not a lot of bigger fish, though.
All right, thank you. Great report from the FISHBITES East region. Time to take a look at the T&H Marine hotspots. Mike says inshore, tarpon in Harbor Ridge area off of St. Lucie River, use live mullet, pilchards, or 4-inch sea shad. And then offshore, mutton snappers and kingfish on the Loran, Tower Ledge, drift, and fish grunt plugs or Spanish sardines for those muttons.
All right, well, we're talking about Dolphin, and
Yes.
in the CCA Florida Star competition, you could win $10,000 cash in the Tigris Outrigger Tag Dolphin. All you have to do is just be the first angler to catch one. Speaking of being first to catch a tagged fish, Star had a big first. Star had the first Youth West Marine tagged redfish winner in the history of the competition and will be taking home a new salt marsh skiff with a 40 HP Yamaha. And remember, any fish can win, so get registered at ccaflstar.com. That's pretty cool. Congratulations.
First youth angler to win. Good job, dude.
Good job. All right, we have a new raffle to tell you about. Maverick, the official shallow water skiff of CCA Florida, has stepped up in a big way. One lucky winner will take home a brand new Maverick 17 HPXS, complete with 70 HP Yamaha motor, Rodan trolling motor, power pole, and custom Ameritrail trailer. So go to ccaflorida.org/Maverick to register, and one lucky winner will be selected July 22nd by none other than Captain Rick Murphy himself.
How about that? That's going to be cool.
That'll be fun. Can't wait to see who it is. All right, we're headed over to the west side next, talking with our captain from the STARTRON Central West and Real Legends Southwest regions. When we return, plus we're saying hi to a friend from FISHBITES, so keep your lines in the water, and we'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Berkeley, your fish, our science, VIEJA, fresh eyes for a rich life, Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure, R&R Tackle, from our tackle box to yours, Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit one of our 4 locations or online at floridacoasteq.com. And GARMIN, plot your paradise.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO Offshore.
Real Legends Performance Outfitters. All you need to feel comfortable on the water all day. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Real Legends Performance Outfitters. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime. Go to reallegends.com to find a store near you. The only reel with over 100 years of heritage. ALVEY Sidecast reels allow you to cast over 150 yards with up to 900 yards of capacity. ALVEY's state-of-the-art drag and 22-inch retrieve rate per wine is perfect for any surf challenge. ALVEY reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the ALVEY also comes with a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alveus.com.
Joining me is Scott Jones from FISHBITES. You know, Scott, FISHBITES has been around a long time. I've been tipping jigs with it for quite a long time. Why don't you tell everybody at home how it all kind of got started and how it all works?
Well, it's been over 20 years now, Rick, and FISHBITES are a result of decades of scientific research by Dr. William Carr, our founder. And he wanted to create a bait that was easy to use, that would catch lots of fish, and that also could be used in a variety of different fishing styles.
So he obviously took the best things of fish or whatever. I don't know how, I mean, certainly I'm no biologist. So how did he come up with the formula? And then how is it made? Let's talk about the strips first.
Well, this product is, there's no fish product in it at all. It's recreations of specific scents, and the product is pressed onto a fiber, which keeps the bait really sturdy on the hooks. Once you put it on the hook, it's not going to come off until it dissolves. Then you have to cut that off with a pair of scissors. But it's all biodegradable. Everything that we make is made right at our factory in St. Augustine, Florida. It's all biodegradable, so it's safe for the environment.
So certainly surf fishing is where one of the places is so really very popular. But a few years ago, Scott, you guys came out with some shapes. So let's talk about those shapes and all the different colors.
Yeah, our Fight Club baits are using the same proven scent technology, and they come in 4 shapes. The one you're holding right there is our fighting shrimp, and I know you've caught a lot of bonefish on that. That's a super durable bait. We've also got our Dirty Boxer curly tail, our butt kicker paddle tail, and our brawler jerk bait. And all these baits are extremely durable, and sometimes they're a little stiff coming out of the package.
Go ahead, pull it.
But there's no plastic in that. That's super strong material, biodegradable, and if you give it a good tug right out of the package and then wring it a couple of times, it'll give that tail a lot of extra action.
Yeah, it stretches it out and gives it a little thinness.
A lot more wobble. And the great thing about all these baits, like I said earlier, everything on this table is biodegradable, super durable. The Fight Club baits come in 8 different colors, and they catch lots of fish. They're made in America. What more could you ask for?
Well, what we do need to ask is where can we find them?
You can find them at most of your local retailers, your big box stores, and definitely at fishbites.com.
All right, do your research, guys. Go to the website, check them out, and then you can go down to your local retailer and get your favorite or maybe one of my favorites. Don't you think, Brie?
Absolutely, Rick. You love snacking on them. All right, the StarTron Central West region always has so much to offer, and yes, even Dolphin. You might just have to put in a little more work, right, Captain Page?
That's exactly right, Brie. And in the StarTron Central West region, summertime and early fall is the best time, but you're going to have to get a little further out there, out in that color change water, and pay attention, like everybody's already said from the East Coast, pay attention to weed lines, any structure in the water, and definitely pay attention to birds. Warbirds especially, the frigate bird, he's never far from them. And we do catch a lot of smaller fish this time of year. Good way to fish for them is just get on the bait school or structure they're holding on and just start chumming out small bait. If it's the bigger fish you want, you can throw lip plugs or cedar plugs 5 to 7 miles an hour, and you're going to get your larger fish. I've got a couple photos tonight of Randy Powell and his crew with a bunch of dolphin. And then I've got a single photo of another guy on the boat, Ryan Ellis, and they're all out of Venice.
Nice.
Staying offshore, the gag grouper, it remains really strong, you guys, with lots of quality 12 to 25-pound fish taken, and the majority of them 130 feet of water on out over hard bottom and structure and ledges, live pinfish, squirrelfish, blue runners, and grunts, if you can get them, are going to get the job done. Standard bottom rig will work with 3 ounces of weight, a 7.0, or even a 5.0 for the smaller fish, Procore circle hook. And my gag photo tonight is of our good friend from CB's Outfitters, Rick, Alita Tush.
Look at Alita with that beautiful dinner in her hand. Good for her. All right, bud.
Yeah,
let's
she was
go
out
inshore.
with Captain R.C. Gilliland of Double G Charters.
All right, I love it.
And moving inshore tarpon, the full moon is come and gone, and we're talking post-spawn fish, which, as you know, Rick, they bite a lot better. They're not so skittish. And I got a report today from Billy Ahlstrom. He went like 3 for 6, all on live thread fins, and he watched a couple of the fish eat the bait. So they're a lot more aggressive, and they're definitely a lot more skinny. And that's up and down the whole coast. I've got reports from down south the same way. If you're into using soft plastics, a 4-inch dye dapper in that pearl white color will work real well once all those glass minnows show up. And I've got my tarpon photo tonight of one of the finalists from the Sarasota Tarpon Tournament, Captain Dolphin Day, with a big girl he caught a week or so ago.
Boy, that is a
And
stud.
my last species tonight, my favorite fish, the speckled trout. You know, they've reopened in the StarTron Central West region, and I want to remind everyone to check the new laws. It's 3 per man or woman and no more than 6 per boat. So I don't care if you got 3 or 4 people on the boat, you don't get the 3 per person to kick in. Cuts off at 6. Right now, down in Lemon Bay, there's a lot of trout on the west side of the ICW, north of Stump Pass, wherever you see the small white terns diving, Rick. Chrome 100 Jaywalker by Berkeley works real well as the Hammer Time Shrimp by Fish Bites Fight Club. I like to rig that on an 8-ounce head. You know, Rick, I just have one question. How come that little white bird, that man in the white suit, always knows where the fish are?
Well, because he's a very observant individual. He's not worried about what's going on with his wife. He's not worried about whether the kids are being fed. He's only got one thing to worry about, and that's what he's eating next. And that's why he tells us the tricks of the trade and why they're always there. Tell me about this picture, Paige. You got three
last
snappers.
Photo, a good friend of the show. You know him, Gary Tuna Breath Huffman, and his daughter Kylie, with a daddy-daughter day on some nice trout and snapper.
All right, looking good. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck hotspots from the Central West region. Captain Page recommends that this week you go inshore. Lots of snook laid up in the troughs along the beach north of Stump Pass. Cast small white clouser flies or the violet moon saltwater assassin sea shad. Offshore, good mangrove snapper biting 70 to 110 feet of water over the areas of hard bottom and ledges. Use the lightest leader possible to catch those big mangroves.
I don't think Paige was expecting all of that.
No.
That was a lot. That was a vent. That was a Rick Murphy vent.
Yeah, it was kind of like...
a little bit. All right.
I need therapy.
Okay, you do, actually. Let's check out what's celebrating the 4th of July with us in the Real Legends Southwest region with Captain Ronnie Houston. Tell us what we're catching this weekend, Ronnie.
Well, it's always a pleasure to be here and always a pleasure to get ready to celebrate the red, white, and blue weekend here in the Southwest region. You know, dolphin's not really a common species that guys chase for, but I will tell you one thing on the offshore side. The permit have been common ever since the waters warmed up from the long winter. So right now, since it's warmed up after that long winter, you can catch these fish right now as close as 5 miles and out to 40 miles. But the reports I've gotten in the last week, guys have told me the range has been right now anywhere from 5 to 18 miles out throughout the whole region, and you basically want to concentrate on the wrecks, the artificial reefs out in front of Collier County, and the towers. Also, guys are telling me some are making several drifts in and around and across the structure, looking for the fish on top. But then again, now with these anchor mode, trolling motors, different brands, most guys right now are just anchoring up in the anchor mode on the trolling motor. Once they hook up on a permit, they ain't got to worry about tossing out the ball, releasing the rope. It's relatively pretty simple. But they're also telling me you want to have a couple of rods out, depending on the wind direction. You want to drift with the wind. And there's a couple ways you can do it. You can use a weighted or unweighted crab to figure out where they might be in the water column. And the baits of choice have been, and the number one bait for the permits right now have been the crabs. If you can't get the crabs, bucktails tipped with shrimp, especially the brighter colored bucktails, and a variety of small 4-inch swim baits in the darker colors in the cleaner water. And I've got a couple nice pictures here of a permit caught while fishing with Captain Corey McGuire, and I got a picture of Troy Pruitt and Nathan over here in the Southwest region. Now, on the offshore side still getting good reports as long as we've got good weather. Captain Mike Avenant and Captain Corey McGuire reporting consistent reports, but weather's going to be a key role, especially with all the thunderstorms we're getting on a daily basis. Depth they're telling me is you can start off as shallow as 120 and you can get out to 170. Now, also a key thing is the bottom finder. Look for the fish up off the bottom on your bottom machine, as well as bait piles tight to the bottom. You can use a variety of cut baits like squid, herring, sardines, but then also, if the fish are kind of sluggish, live pinfish and live cigar minnows, if you can get them, are also working. I'm also told, both these guys tell me every time, vary your baits to see what the bigger fish might be keyed in on. And I got a picture of a nice red snapper recently caught while fishing with Hunter. On the inshore side, you know, things are changing with the amount of rain we've been receiving from right now all through the region for the snooks. Indian Key to Lostman's River, you want to concentrate right now on the river mouths, outside islands, and also the bites that are all in those areas. Fresh water flow coming out of those bites. Now's the time of year where that water starts flowing. You will see where that water flows out of them bites. That's the area to be in. Deadwood and blowdown. Finding the areas with good moving water, especially at your mid-tide levels, which keeps the fish off the shorelines. You can find pilchers, those are the key baits, but finger mullets are starting to run and show up down here in the Southwest region in schools. But threadfish have also been working. Topwater walk the dog lures, 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce gold spoons, and the Bass Assassin 5-inch dye dappers in either Green Moon or Bounty Hunter. And I got a nice picture of a couple nice snook caught with Dylan and Kendra. Last species is going to be the redfish. Concentrate your efforts right now in Estero Bay, Helpeckney, the east wall from Rocky Bay to Hickory Bay, and the independent islands in between. Now in the higher stages, getting baits up under the mangroves and areas of deadwood is what I've been told. On your lower stages, you want to concentrate on those potholes, troughs, oyster bars that are exposed, and areas of roaming mullet. Live pinfish, cut ladyfish, cut herring on knocker rigs. Also top water walk the dog lures early in the morning or a couple hours before dark, especially with their schools of roaming mullet. They got another nice picture of a couple of young kids, Micah and Margot's down in the Southwest region. All kid pictures this week are compliments of Troy Pruitt. He takes a lot of these kids out fishing. His AKA name is the Candy Man. He said, if I put these pictures on this week, finally, after all the years we fished against each other in tournaments, he finally put me on a bite.
All right, good job. Thank you for the pictures, Troy. Midnight, we appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and look at the Catty Can hot spots from the Real Legends Southwest region. He says inshore, trout, Devilfish Key towards Widdens Creek in 2 to 5 feet of water. Look for the birds and the bait schools using noise-making corks with soft plastic. And then offshore, Amberjacks, Fort Myers Beach to Stump Pass, fishing wrecks 90 to 120 feet using live baits like a pinfish or even a blue runner, Brie.
All right, Rick. Well, we obviously have our Real Legends red, white, and blue on, and Dave does too. And now you can as well. Now through July 6th, get your 4th of July savings and head to reallegends.com to get 40% off Real Legends apparel for the entire family. That's lovely.
40%
40%. That's almost 50.
You know what? I think we should just take.
Oh my gosh,
really
that's half. We should go. I was there today. They've got a lot of good stuff there.
Good thing you're pretty and pregnant.
Okay, well, thanks.
50%,
Rick,
almost half off. Wow.
Okay, I'm sold. So while we take a short break, I'll be birthday shopping on reallegends.com. You can just go over there with your hat. But when we come back, we're fishing the ALVEY Reels Northeast region and seeing what goodies Dave has for Taco Marine new products at the CCA Workbench. You just go. You just go over there.
We've got a bunch of good stuff, and this little magic swimmer being one of them.
Ooh,
this thing
magic.
swims like crazy.
Love it. Love your stars too. Just
very starry.
Starry-eyed. See you soon.
Starry night.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Penn, let the battle begin. Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. Best lures, period. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Yamaha's reputation for saltwater reliability is driven by the 4.2-liter V6 Offshore's 97% reliability and overall performance. Reimagined with new advantages like built-in digital electric steering for incredible responsiveness and exhaust rerouting for more powerful reverse thrust. The legacy of the reliable Yamaha 4.2-liter V6 continues, now more refined and capable than ever. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from GARMIN.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
Well, We're here at the CCA workbench, and we're going to troll the edge with Taco Marine and Dave, and we're going down the edge of this bench. So what are we doing?
Well, we're going to start off with the Real Legends clothing here. We got all these really cool 4th of July looks. That is the ladies Ultra Comfort tank top. Really nice print on there. Very ultra, it's ultra light, UPF 50. Sweat activated, snag resistant fabric. So, when you walk by something, it's not going to snag, and put a little thing on it. Just like Brie's pants over here. They're the exact same pattern.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah. So, that's the ladies Ultra Comfort. And we also have the men's long sleeve Real Tech t-shirt. It's great for the 4th of July weekend as well. Red, white, and blue colors. Quick dry, moisture wicking. The other side is really cool.
So let's flip it over.
Artwork by Lena Szymanski. A really cool great white shark on the American flag. Very, very cool looking. Again, UPF 40, sun protection, quick dry, and moisture wicking. All the really good stuff that comes with Real Legends high-tech shirts.
You know what else is nice?
It's a medium.
M for Murphy.
Yeah, I already noticed
right
that.
In there, baby.
Yeah.
I got one from Mama, too.
Exactly. Why not? Next, we got the Berkeley Magic Swimmer. It's the wake version. It's a floating version, actually. It's a 1-ounce bait, 5 3/4 inch longs with really sticky hooks, aren't they?
Very sticky.
Very sticky hooks. This thing has that little compressed head and the wide back that transitions into the jointed, broken part. Really makes it swim like crazy. This is one of the most realistic swimming baits, hard baits I've ever used. I mean, they're just really, really good. Very lifelike motion. The hooks are matched to the bait so that they, doesn't make a floating bait sink or vice versa. 16 colors, 7 sizes, 3 3/4 inch, all the way up to a giant 9-inch one that you could troll offshore for wahoos and kingfish. And they also make a little soft version of that swimmer as well. 8 weights that comes in, so you can go to purefishing.com and get you a magic swimmer. They are magical.
Berkeley.
Yeah,
Berkeley.com.
Berkeley Magic. Yeah. Well, Pure Fishing is where you can get that one, actually.
Okay.
Trocar Octopus, the TK 2HP. An octopus hook, really good for live baits, for dolphin especially. You could use these for dolphin or bottom fishing or whatever. They got that triple-sided, nice cutting point, the Trocar cutting point, that's deeper hook penetration. Heavy wire on these hooks so that they're really strong. 22-degree offset. Like I said, great for live baits or chunk baits. Come in 13 sizes. Then they also make a medium wire one as well. And a ton of, like I said, 13 sizes from little tiny ones all the way up to a 9.0 if you're, targeting.
9.0 is a big old hook.
Yeah, if you're targeting giant yellowfin tunas or something. Really strong.
I think this would be a great one, a little smaller size probably than what I just picked up. I picked up the 5.0s, but it'd be a good bonefish hook, Dave.
Yeah, 2.0.
Yeah, 2.0 would work perfectly.
Yeah. Come in platinum black or fresh red finish. The Trocar. Fresh red.
Oh,
you like red.
I just like the sound of all of that.
Yeah, so you go.
All right, what do we got here,
Eagle
David?
Claw. Next, we got the Conflict 2, the long cast spinning reel. This is a reel that's made to cast a long way. It's got a 4.81 retrieve. It's got the rigid resin body and the rotor on it, so it's really light, which, if you're going to be in the surf, running back and forth all day, you don't want a giant heavy reel. 7+1 sealed stainless steel ball bearings, CNC gears inside, an HT100 carbon fiber drag, which is the same drag that's on the Internationals. It's got the Superline spool and the textured in the middle, so if you want to put braid on there or something, it won't spin around on you.
Yeah.
It lets you really get a tight grip on the spool.
And also the line capacity.
Yep,
lines.
It's got the super line with the line capacity rings, the heavy duty 1-piece aluminum frame, and 450 yards of 15-pound braid, actually.
Dave, excellent work.
Penfishing.com.
Excellent work over here tonight.
Thank you very much.
Man, you guys just look so patriotic,
Don't we?
and it
We
makes
are.
me so happy.
Dun, dun.
Woo, you're
Explosive.
Real Legends. All right, prime time for Dorado has passed in the ALVEY Reels Northeast region, but Captain Tommy Derringer has some tips to catch some lone swimmers out there. And by the looks of the photos, sign me up for the off-season mahi bite, Tommy.
That's right, Brie. You took the words right out of my mouth. You guys all look so patriotic. Hope everybody has a great, fun, and safe 4th of July weekend. And, You know, we have a great mahi fishery here in the ALVEY sidecast reels Northeast region. You know, we've had a great year, and even though the main part of our mahi run, it's pretty much over, you can still catch some nice fish offshore. You know, typically the best time of year to catch mahi in my region, it's going to be something like late April through May. And like I said, you can catch them year round. This spring, we had a fantastic run of mahi with big numbers and lots of big fish coming to the docks. And we're past that big mahi run, but you can still find some nice fish out there. You're going to want to look for a good tide change, preferably with some stacked up weeds. That would be just right. Anywhere from just inside the ledge out to even as deep as 1,500 feet. Now, as we get later into the summer months, the dolphin, they're going to move inside the ledge and even near shore along some of the wrecks and reefs. Now, there's even some decent fish caught right at 9 Mile Reef throughout the summer, so you don't even have to go that far sometimes. Now, some typical rigs are going to be a ballyhoo rigged with a 7/0 eagle claw circle hook. One of those trocars would work great. And a 60 to 100 pound fluorocarbon leader along with an 1/8 to maybe a 1/2 ounce chin weight. Now, you can also run 1 or 2 chuggers alongside those naked ballyhoos. A lot of people like to do that. Now, the cool thing about this time of year is when you're out there trolling, it's probably going to be a good mixed bag of tunas, sailfish, and those occasional mahi as well. And that picture you were talking about, Brie, I've got one here. Troy Eliason sent me this picture of his monster mahi he caught east of St. Augustine. How about that fish? That's a big old sucker.
That would be the best
two
birthday
big
gift
suckers.
ever.
I'm telling you, that dude's a big
He's
dude.
huge.
That's a huge fish, man. All right,
They're both
keep on
huge.
going. Tell me what else is. I've lost my mind
Rick,
here.
Coming off last week's full moon bite, you know, the snapper, they continue to chew this week. The mutton and especially the mangrove snapper, they're still grouped up in those 100-foot plus range depths on the reefs and wrecks. Chumming those snappers up, you know what? It's always a really fun way to go. You can just chunk up some sardines and start a chum line. And once the fish get up in the water column where you want them, behind the boat, you can free line a chunk of that cut sardine, free line it back, use a lighter fluorocarbon leader, something like 30, maybe even 20 pound if they're not really chewing on that, with a smaller 3 to 4/0 eagle claw circle hook. If you can hide the hook in that piece of chum that you're floating back, that's even going to be better. Leading up to the red snapper weekend in a couple of weeks, it can also be a really effective way to get those guys as well. In fact, you know what? It's hard keeping the red snapper out of your chum line at this point. Now, the average size of those mangoes right now, it's somewhere between about 6 and 10 pounds. And speaking of big snapper, I've got another picture here. This is my man, Cannon Creeder, with a big mango that he caught recently out of St. Augustine on the Team Creeder fish boat. Those guys are always catching all kinds of big fish. Now, moving inshore, you know, the tarpon bite, it's been really good this week. The beach has been, you know, it's been a little rough wave-wise, but if you can make it out there, those beach fish have really shown up in better numbers, along with better numbers of bait pods as well. Now, First Light is going to be the best bet to find those tarpon feeding in the pokey pods. Now, they've also been fired up after any kind of rainstorm in the late afternoons or any time of day. We've had a ton of rain here lately. Now, free lining a pokey on the 6 to 8/0 eagle claw hook, circle hook. I like that trocar circle hook with a 40 to 60 pound fluorocarbon leader. That's going to be my go-to setup for those beach tarpon. Now, there's also some big fish showing up along the bridges and the inlets throughout the region. A big live mullet or a large saltwater assassin paddle tail. That's the way to go for those inshore or intercoastal fish. Now, also inshore, guys, we have a great redfish tide to get out early and toss a topwater plug this weekend. One of my favorite things to do this time of year is to get out early on this exact tide cycle we got coming up and target those redfish on top. The small mullet, they've really shown up in the south end of the region, and when that happens, the redfish are going to be ready and willing to smash that topwater plug. We've been using the Berkley Jaywalker 100. You know, it's a little smaller and it imitates those small mullets perfectly. Just look for those schools of bait along the grass edges early on that falling tide, and then around the oyster bars as those oyster bars start to come out of the water when that tide drops a little bit more. Now, as the sun comes up and things heat up, you might switch it to a live or even a cut piece of mullet, again, right around those oyster bars. And if it's a really hot day, we've been doing well targeting some deep water docks on the low tide where it's going to be a little cooler for those fish to chill out. And I've got one last picture here, guys. This is an oversized redfish that Gary Remben-Snyder caught on a top water plug with me on the Maverick earlier this week. You should have seen the blow up, man. It was awesome watching that fish eat.
Oh, I can tell. There's a happy smile on that man's face, Tommy. And you know what? I'd like to know who his hairdresser is, because I might be signing up to maybe see if I can get some of that hair.
It's too late.
I'll have him get, yeah, it might be a little late. All
right, well, we can always try. All right, bud, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the strike zone hotspots from the Northeast region. He says inshore, the redfish on a Berkeley Jaywalker 100 topwater at first light. Fish down the grass lines on the flats where you can see the schools of small mullet. The flounders at all the area inlets and surrounding docks on slack tide are going to be working real well inshore there. And then offshore, snappers in 100+ feet on the reefs and the wrecks throughout the region. Chum with cut sardines or pogies.
All right, get ready to see fireworks because we're trolling the R&R Tackle Southeast and Discover Crystal River Northwest regions next. And to keep up with everything fishing in Florida, make sure to head on over to our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and to see new fishing adventures along with reports, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Captain Rick Murphy. We'll see you soon.
Speaking of patriotic, look how red, white, and blue you are.
I try.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by STARTRON, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. ALVEY Reels, a better way to fish. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 35 years. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. We are the Fish Bites Nation, and this is your invitation. So grab some fish bites and get busy casting, because you can't join the nation without doing the catching. Ask for Fish Bites or Fish Bites Fight Club lures, or visit fishbites.com.
Come explore untouched Florida, where you'll step into holy sea cow and fish pristine waters where you'll reel in, whoa! Come discover Crystal River with exciting adventures and incredible surprises everywhere. From exhilarating river adventures to scalping in the Gulf to delicious fish to fork cuisine, this is the place where you can relax into, Just a short drive from Tampa and Orlando is the amazing Discover Crystal River, Florida. Learn more at discovercrystalriverfl.com.
Service and reliability makes Alta Equipment the leader for all your construction equipment needs. With 7 locations across Florida and preferred brands like Volvo, Toro, TOC, Avant, and Roadtech, Alta has the equipment to get the job done. When I need equipment, I trust Alta. From agriculture to landscape to construction, Alta has you covered. For sales, rentals, service, and parts, see your local Alta Equipment dealer today or call them at 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
All right, when it comes to dolphin in the R&R Tackle Southeast region, consistency is the key word we're exploring with Captain Jimbo Thomas. So Jimbo, talk to us.
You got it. Hey, Brie, Rick, and Dave. You know, here in R&R Southeast region, we can find dolphin, mahi, dorado, whatever you want to call them. We find them throughout the year, with the summer months recognized as dolphin season. But anybody could have a great dolphin day at any given time of the year. Now, the most consistent months are June, July, and August, even into September. And that's when most fishermen head offshore in search of weed lines, rips, color changes, floating debris, and bird activity, which are all great signs that dolphin could be in the area. Main tactics when targeting dolphin are trolling with rig ballyhoo, flying fish, or bonita strips, along with small lures and feathers. Or you can run and gun, which is covering a lot of ground in search of debris and signs of fish. Now, the larger fish are usually in pairs or in small packs, while the smaller fish can be found in large schools, hence the name schoolies. Aboard the Thomas Flower, we like to have some live pilchards or cigar minnows in the bait well, along with some bonita or ballyhoo chunks, and we have those ready to cast or pitch once we do locate the fish. Typical tackle is light trolling outfits and medium to heavy spinning tackle rigged with 50-pound mono leaders and 4.0 to 6.0 J or circle hooks. Few dolphin that have been caught in the last week have been anywhere from 100 to 1,200 feet of water. And in the shallower depths, those fish have been caught on live baits intended for sales. Then in the deeper water, we've been finding them under frigate birds and terns, and they've been chasing flying fish to the south. Now, the nighttime snapper fish has also been excellent throughout the region, especially for mangroves. There's also been some muttons and yellowtails mixed in. And with this heat, it's been pretty nice getting out in the evening. Now, the snapper, they've been hanging on the outside reef from 40 to 80 feet of water. They're being caught on dead sardines, silver sides, and pilchards. You want to fish them on the bottom with a knocker rig, 20 to 30-pound leader, and 1.0 to 3.0 circle hooks. The Reward Party Boat out of Miami, they've been fishing along the outside reef line of Government Cut. They've been finding mangroves from 2 to 6 pounds. Best bite has been after 9 p.m. in the evening. There's also been bait coming up in the lights. You can sabiki those, put those back down. That's what the larger fish are getting caught on. But the sharks are still a big problem, eating a lot of the fish. Now, moving inshore, we got catch and release snook fishing. All the inlets throughout the region are holding snook. They're being caught on live herrings, pinfish, and pilchards, drifted through the cuts on Jupiter rigs. Also by bouncing 1 to 2 ounce white, pink, or chartreuse, flarehawk, or bucktail jigs along the bottom. Both incoming and outgoing tides have been productive. Early mornings and evenings is when these snook are going to bite the best. Nighttime bite around the bridge and dock light shadow lines has also been good fishing with live baits or jigs and soft plastics. And then any mangrove shoreline has been producing, especially if there's schools of bait fish in the area. Now, I got a photo here. This is Matt Lamas with a real nice, healthy Biscayne-based snook.
Nice.
Then we got some great bonefish in the South Biscayne Bay along the western shoreline from Matheson Hammock south to Turkey Point, and also on the outside flash from Soldiers Key South to Angelfish Creek. Been mainly an early morning or late afternoon bite, with the outgoing tides being the most productive. On the higher stages of the tide, look for mudding and tailing fish on top of the flats. On the lower stages, look for the fish along the deeper edges of the flats and the channels. Best bait's been live shrimp and small crabs. Use 15 to 20-pound fluoro leaders, 2.0 to 3.0 hooks, or fly tackle with crab pattern flies.
All right, Jimbo, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the R&R, the hot spots from the southeast region. He says inshore, fish tarpon and snook in the inlets and off of the beaches with live and artificial baits early in the morning, late in the afternoon, and then offshore. Head offshore in search of mahi, 5 to 15 miles out under the birds, floaters, and weed lines.
Well, Rick, if there's any fish I will run the extra mile for, it's dolphin. So if you feel the same way in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region, let's have a session with Captain Jeff Hageman and see just how far we got to go.
Dolphin, we've got them throughout my entire region. You're just going to have to make a long run to get them. Most of the summer months, you're going to find fish starting at about 90 feet of water and out. And most of the time, those smaller fish are going to be in 90 feet of water, and those are going to be the schoolies. You want to look for everything everybody's talking about earlier. Weed lines, birds, bait, any kind of floating flotsam, you can catch them on. Those fish, like I said, in 100 feet of water or less are going to be smaller chickens. To find those bigger fish, you're going to have to get off the shelf and get up to that 300 to 400, 500, 600 feet of water. Trolling, everything everybody's been talking about, trolling pink and white, blue and white works really good in our region. Soft heads with either ballyhoo or just plain naked. Light, once you get out past 70 feet of water, when you're doing any kind of fishing offshore, I always like to carry, as a little tip, always carry a light rod with a 1/4 ounce yellow bucktail on it in case you see those chickens come by the boat. Most of the time they'll come up and see what's going on. You can get one going and then get the rest of them going while you're fishing. Little tip for you. Staying offshore, Captain Rob Davenport of Big Nasty Charters out of St. Pete reports the red snapper bites are really good right now. 140 feet to 180 feet of water. Big snapper, I always mention this, tend to live on a higher part of the stack. So once you get those fish fired up, those bigger fish are going to rise to the top so they can look down and see what's going on. And that's where you're going to catch your bigger ones. Knocker rig, 6-ounce to 8-ounce lead, a 5 to 7-aught trocar circle hook with 80-pound fluorocarbon leader. Threadfin herring and cut squid are still the bait of choice. And you always want to have that vertical jig ready as well. They're working really good too. And I got a photo here of a couple nice American red snapper.
Nice.
Those are some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Moving inshore, Captain Louie with Florida Fishing Adventures, running out of Ozella Keys Marina, says great snook bite right now. Fishing's happening in Crystal River, and the best results is the first 2 hours of the incoming tide, working glow jerk baits on a 16th-ounce weighted hook, with a quick retrieve across rocky points and mangrove points between Fish Creek and Mangrove Point Bay. Live baits such as pinfish, mud minnows, rigged with 3 feet, a 40-pound fluorocarbon leader tied to a 5.0 trocar circle hook will do the trick. And I've got a photo here of a young angler with a nice Ozella snook.
Oh, cutie.
Yeah.
Rick, he's cute.
Yeah,
Moving
man.
to Steinhatchee, Captain Bobby Brady. Steinhatchee reports a better bite generally on the incoming cooler water on both sides of the tide, working his part of the region. Seems the fish are being a little bit friskier with that cooler water on that incoming tide. Baits of choice have been flashy, mid-suspension baits. Any kind of stick bait or jerk baits working really well for redfish and trout. They love those baits. The slower moving, larger soft plastics closer to the bottoms are producing some reds. They're not schooling right now, but they're laying in the pockets spread out on the flats. Captain Bobby is catching them while looking for trout in 3 to 4 feet of water or less and finding plenty of them. The trout have been mixed in also in that 2 to 5 foot of water while he's drifting the flats. You want to cast your baits down where you're drifting the tide, downwind, and work them back to the boat, slightly pausing and jigging it along the way and give it a chance to catch up and hit it. That's my report for this week.
All right, Hag, you did a good job. I got a question for you. You know, on those snappers, when you're talking about vertical jigging versus fishing the bait, when you first get to the spot, you want to fish the artificial over the bait first? Or how do you like to do that? Well, we might have already lost him. He might have said...
Lost you.
Yeah, well, I think I was asking you about potentially vertical jigging the red snappers over using some bait. So which one do you like to use first to catch those aggressive fish when you first pull up?
I usually like to drop a bait down. It gets the fish fired up. You'll mark them lightly on your bottom machine. And once you drop that live bait down there or a dead bait, you're going to bring all those fish up in the water column. Once you do that, dropping that jig down, you don't have to reach in the bait cooler and grab another bait. You can get that artificial out and catch them pretty quick.
All right.
But once you get them fired up with that dead bait or that live bait first, they really come to life.
All right, that's a little different than we would do it.
And the big ones
are
at the top of the column.
Yeah, because you know that red snapper, they're so oriented to where they want to stay together. You know, they're very communal. I don't know what the word would be if you want to be hanging out all the time together. What would you call that? All right, thanks so much, Hag. We're gonna go ahead and check the Ozella Keys Marina hotspots. He must have had a rum and coke waiting on him or something, man. He kept hanging up on me. Inshore snook are on all the beaches and the passes. Use sardines or pinfish free line under a cork. And then offshore to mangrove snappers on the high relief structure lower half of the region. 25 to 60 feet of water is what you're going to find. So what do you call that?
A lot going on.
When you want to gather up, what would you refer to that?
Communal, maybe?
Communal. That's
the
it.
word?
I didn't have my word.
Exactly.
I was messed up.
Hang in there, anglers, because I sure am. We're dropping lines into our last mahi-mahi spot in the GARMIN Panhandle region. Now you got me going. So stay hooked, and we'll be right back while we get our words back together.
Yeah. Can a man get a drink of water?
Water! Or something else.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. The IGFA. Fish for the World. Noble Air Charters. Raising the bar yet again. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. Fishing for adventure. Real legends, everything you need to live life local. And Taco Marine, troll the edge.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide and seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
At Florida Coast Equipment, we understand you don't work banker's hours, so neither do we. You have a business to run, you have a family to feed, and you need your machine up and running. So our service team and our parts department will be there. If that means we have to stay late, we'll do it. If we have to start early, we'll do it. Because at the end of the day, you want equipment you can depend on and people you can trust, and we have a service team that will be there to service you.
Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Kick your gas into gear with STARTRON.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Today's Power Pull tip is about the new Power Pull Charge power management station. The cool thing about the Charge is it replaces 3 systems on your boat. It replaces your traditional 3 or 4 bank battery charger, so when you're at the house, you plug it into the wall. The Power Pull Charge is going to optimize and balance your batteries like nothing ever out there. It also replaces your on-the-run charger, so anytime you've got the Yamaha running, it's going to replace the power in your trolling motor batteries and your cranking batteries all day while you're running from spot to spot. And the third thing it does, it's got an emergency start feature in it. So if you're ever out there and your cranking battery dies and you can't get the motor started, go to the Sea Monster app, transfer the power, and you're good to go. Get back to the dock. For any more information about the Power Pull Charge, you can go to powerpull.com or stop by one of your local dealers. That's your Power Pull tip.
You know, the cool part about this, Brie, and here it is that this whole unit and all the things that it can do only weighs 8 pounds.
No.
And I'm a real stickler when it comes to onboard chargers because I don't like the additional weight. I mean, everything in my boat matters as far as the weight. And sure enough, the reason why I have the Charge in my boat is because of all the things it could do and because of how little it weighs.
Perfect.
Yes.
I think 8 pounds is what this thing is going to weigh.
You said it.
I said it.
Perfect.
All right, get ready to grill up some mahi for the 4th of July weekend barbecue in the GARMIN Panhandle region because the conditions are ripe for the pickings. Close us out, Pat.
Hey, Brie, I tell you what, May through October, depending on the weather, is when we find dolphins up here in the Panhandle region. Right now, there's lots of grass offshore, which means lots of dolphin opportunities. If you find some clean blue water with sargassum rafts or lines or other surface structure, you will probably find some dolphins. Trolled ballyhoo or small plastics account for most of the dolphins caught from our region. But if the troll isn't working, I mean, if you troll by those rafts of grass or down that line and you see the dolphin fish and they're not biting the troll, pull in your spread, break out the spinner rods, cast live baits, dead baits on monoliters, or use jigs size of the dolphin that you're seeing. You know, they're bigger dolphins. You know, use Kobe size jigs. You can really put a lot of dolphin into the boat in a short order this way. Also, the Okaloosa Fads out by the spur have been a consistent dolphin spot lately with some pretty good sized fish being caught. And the same conditions that make dolphin fishing good are good for water fishing. And you're going to look for that clean blue water, surface structure, and bait. And there's been a bunch of wahoo being caught for the last several weeks, actually. by anglers targeting pelagics and crews taking advantage of travel time between the bottom spots or traveling from or to the inlets, going out or coming back. If you want to increase your wahoo bites in a trolling spread, use a trolling lead to get your tremblers or your ballyhoo islander combos down into the water column. Purple, black, red, orange, all great wahoo colors. Wahoos are ranging from 15 to 30 plus pounds with some really nice wahoo being caught in that 70 plus pound range. And moving inshore, last week we spoke about triple tail. And that exposure was noticed. I tell you what, lots of folks have contacted me talking about how good the triple tail fishing is and how good it's been in the Panhandle region. If you're going to be targeting triple tails, you're most likely traveling to Indian Pass and Apalachicola Bay. You're going to be fishing the buoys, the navigational markers, the crab traps, the tide lines, etc. Using a live bait under a cork once you find the fish is the most common, technique. But also soft plastics, a shrimp or streamer fly pattern, or even better yet, a fish bite strip with no weight on it. You want to keep your bait up close to the, you don't want your bait sinking down below the triple tails. But that fish bite is definitely a good way to go. Fish up to 20 plus pounds are being caught, but 4 to 8 pounders are more common. There was a photo sent in by Captain Sean Chalker of bar hopping charters with a 26 pounder he caught this past week. Right about the time the show was airing last week. Rick, how about that?
That's a triple tail.
That is a triple tail, dude. All right, tell me about the tarpon fishing.
Finally, we're in the middle of the tarpon season. The fish are getting more numerous and larger. We're not finding those 50 to 60 pounders now. They're more like that 80, 90, 100, 120 pounders. What you want is you want favorable seas, you want sun, and you want clear water. Unfortunately, the water clarity has been a bit off this past week due to the tropical storm Claudia last week. But the sea condition hasn't been too bad at all. And the fish are here. They're definitely throughout the Panhandle from Apalachicola to Pensacola. In Apalachicola, it's mostly menhaden or swim baits prospecting or fishing around the bait schools. You find those menhaden schools and you fish around them. To the west, out along the beaches, it's sight fishing, looking for them as they move east to west along the outer bar. We've been getting a ton of business from Mobile, tarpon anglers, wanting to catch clean water fish. And this is a photo of Christian with a fishing caught with me earlier this week, right off the beaches of Destin in that clean water. So tarpons are here. Fishing's been good.
Glad to hear the tarpons are there, Patar. We'll see you pretty soon.
I'll see you soon.
All right, bud. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Inshore, Halfway Bridge on the afternoon outgoing tide, 4 redfish on swim baits and live baits, and then offshore. Hey, check it out, southeast, lots of sargassum and bluish water. Troll ballyhoos for dolphin, wahoos, and other pelagics. The big blue marlins I hear have been buzzing around that area.
Bluish.
Bluish.
Bluish. All right, the dolphin reports are in, and I don't know about you, but to me, July 4th is synonymous with summertime vibes, and so is catching some beautiful, tasty mahi. So go out there and be the independent American anglers I know you can be. And in the meantime, stay hooked a little longer so we can tell you what we're up to next week. We'll be right back.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories, fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
We are for those who know that opportunity is nothing without preparation, those who know that the right gear can make or break a day. Born out of a need for reliability, tested and proven on the Miss Brit charter fleet. From terminal tackle to all your live bait needs, whether you're fishing for fun or looking to win a tournament, R&R Tackle has what you need to stay ready.
Next week, gentlemen, we are talking weighting, so make sure you tune in. And when I say we, I don't mean you, Rick. I mean Dave and I, and Tommy will be here from the ALVEY Reels Northeast region.
Yep, I'm
helping
going to be
me out?
with Pat. Going to be filming a Sportsman's Adventure episode, catching tarpon on the beach.
Those big 120 pounders he was talking about.
It's pretty up there.
I hope so.
It could be introduced to the House of Pain.
You will be.
All right, guys, happy 4th of July. Have a great, safe weekend. Be patriotic.
Zoom in, Alex.
We'll see you next
Look at
week.
that. You got the flag going on there.